Yo, this is plugin coach. I am the plugin coach, and I had an idea for a MIDI plugin. Which is Max MIDI Effect, which would do inversions of chords. So what I'm first gonna do is I'm going to look at the interface and define the functionality. Think about functionality. What the hell? And then implement that functionality for everyone's educational satisfaction, hopefully, and creative stimulus. So audio's on, video's on. I can do this. Wicked. So to hell with this for now. So, as I said, first the interface. So first of all, the way like this to work is to have essentially a note input which will determine the tonic of the chord. Okay, so that's the one coming out of here, I say. And what I'll do then is first I will get to the pitch class, I believe it's called, by taking the modulus 12. Okay, so what this means is that essentially all the notes are squeezed into a single octave. So if I send a note through this effect, then I expect to get a number between 0 and 11, whereas in this case the original input is 67. Okay, so modulus 12 math, modulus math is really cool. Definitely look into this. If it's because it essentially gives you a sawtooth wave if you plot it. Okay, so I'll jump over the modulus math now and get on with the idea. So this is going to be my tonic. So what I can demonstrate then, just for the sake of clarity, is that if I input a C, okay, and as a matter of exercise, a G straight after that. Okay, those are the 60, 67 pitches, and what I get is zeros and sevens. So essentially I get the pitch class. Okay, so that's the incoming thing. Now, in terms of how do I get an inversion of a chord, I have thought, of the following parameters. Let's just spell them out first and explain this. So the first one up is the actual octave. Let's call it landing octave. Okay, so independent of where it comes from, it's gonna land into a different octave. Now, typically, you would have a kind of a menu. Hello, Ant. A menu for the type of chord. Menu for type of chord. Where the hell am I here? It's my first plugin in 12, in all honesty. Text icon, where I'm looking for 1, 2, 3. Where is this thing? Live menu escape. in Scepter. Well, I have prepared with a bit of wine for this session, but this is new, so it's where the hell? It used to be here. Oh, all, yeah, all is all recent. Basic. Oh, here it is. 1, 2, 3. So what do we have in terms of chords? We have major. So I'm essentially gonna relate to the type of third, and yeah. So I'm talking here about 3 notes. So I have a major, minor. Then I have a major with augmented fifth, and I have a minor with augmented fifth. I have a major with suspended fifth, and I have a minor with suspended fifth. How is my music theory on this? I have no clue. Yeah, so essentially what I'm saying, this is semitones 0, right? So let's do this. Let me give you my interpretation of what I remember from music theory. So this would be my major with an E, right? Then this would be my minor, right? And then what I'm saying here is that I have both of these with augmented fifths, and I have both of these with diminished fifths. And I could do this whole thing, I imagine, with a tritone as well. So here, I think my combinatorial capacity supersedes my music theory. Hopefully. So what I'm saying here is that... no, I don't have the whole lot. Of course, I just have the 1/2. So I've taken the fifth up and down 1 semitone, but I've taken the third only up 1 semitone. So I would have to take it down, which is rather peculiar. So I'm gonna do this one by one like this. So this one duplicates, this one duplicates, and this one duplicates. Ignorance is bliss. I have no clue. But I think, what am I doing? This is the 1, 2, and this is the third one of the same. Okay, and in this case, this is fun. I'm gonna raise that third. Okay, so hell yeah. Does this even ever sound like? So I should probably look up the terminology. I mean, I kind of remember the obviously augmented, right? And that's about the fifth. The minor major is about the third. And then there's the suspended and there's the diminished. Aha. See, the knowledge is out there. So probably suspended is actually the third being raised. Okay, I think I'll go by that. And then once this session is over, I'll ask someone or look it up. Yeah. So those will be my chord types. Oh my god, I'm just new to 12. So here we go. I want an instrument rack, and I want, these are all really techie stuff. Is it basic sine keys? Some keys. Okay, this don't want to play. Oh, of course. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm gonna. Hello. Oh, I'm still in this one. Let's just briefly listen to these. A bit slower. So this is what I call major. What I call minor. Well, that's clear. That is called major and minor. This is augmented major. Augmented minor. Diminished major. Diminished minor. Suspended major, just suspended, I imagine. And this is suspended augmented. And a suspended diminished. Oof. I'm totally unsure about this. But yeah, that's my combinatorial exercise. We'll find out later on how this is actually defined in classical music theory. In any way, I will do it this way. So major augmented, minor augmented, major diminished, minor diminished, and then I'm going to have, did I say major suspended? Doesn't make sense because the fifth is clean but the third is raised, so it's just the sus, I imagine, just the suspended. And then I have the sus augmented and sus diminished. Okay. Hell on earth. This is what I call hell on earth, but yeah, I think I can entertain you with this for a while myself. Okay, so this is going to call for a kind of a table, because essentially what I get from this obviously is an integer, and I'll just have to map exact values to this. Hello. That's why it's useful to test live menu item index not coming through. Why is item index not coming through? Does it have an issue? Is it a different data type? Bloody hell. Nothing coming through. Disable? What the hell is going on? This is item symbol. I mean, all of this should work. I mean, I prepared in a very limited fashion for this experiment. Well, I'm gonna save it to start with, so this is what I shall call a ZB inversion, and make it a bit more specific. Chord inversion. Z. Ha. So I'm trying to find out, is this deactivated or some shit like that? I have no clue what's going on. Let's see in here. There we go. So yeah, a bit of a bug feature, whatever. So essentially what I have here is raw value. Normalize 0 to 1, won't use that. I have the text, won't use that. So what I essentially need here is a collection. Is that the one? Store and edit collection of data. Where, I mean, it's just lucky that I have to revise all this, because that's the way to learn. So help call looks like nothing. If this is what I store, then the insides look like index and then comma or name and then everything with space. Okay, so what I'll do then is I will call this one. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many of these did I have? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. 3 by 3, which takes me up to 8. And then I need a comma, and then I need the value. So the major is 0, 2, 5, 0, 5, 7. And then a semicolon. I hope that's the one. So let's get this going. I mean, each one has a 0, I imagine. So what was the order of things for me here? Cheat. So major, minor, then augmented, then diminished. So 2 of these with 8 and with diminished. And then 3 of these, 7, 8, 6. It's rather symmetrical with 6, which I believe is called suspended, and these were actually every other was a minor. Yoo-hoo. Does this save? It's been a while. I'm gonna save it somewhere anyway. Well, it's in the clipboard, I hope. Did it save? Validate. Hello. Is that okay? I hope that saves through saving the patch as well. Or does it need a name? Colleges with the same name share data. Well, it's been a while. Honestly, I've started with OS 9 and Max 3 point something. And that's the thing that I base, but it will be my chords. Alright. Is it still there? No, it's not there. Aha. So here we go again. Save. I can save it. Let's do that. Make sure. Chords. I'm learning it as we do this. Chords text. Okay. Still there. Alright. So if this number, I hope I would imagine this queries the object data contents. Okay, did this start to work in the meanwhile? Probably didn't. Which is a lovely feature, because if I do this once I save the patch and close it, I mean, I didn't really update 12 since a while, but would have hoped that this thing does something. That's probably the one. It's constantly disabled. Okay, so that seems to work here. Does it work here as well now? Hello? Yes. Okay, so you can't edit a patch while it's disabled in live. Great. So actually this chords collection can now feed straight from the note coming in. Or actually from the, let's call it octave stripped note. So I'll try to make this kind of educative. So call this the incoming, shall I call it pitch? Let's call it pitch. Let's call it note number. I like that. This is gonna come in a bit. So we have an incoming note number. And then we have the, I will call it very lengthy octave stripped note number. And then, well, obviously this doesn't feed from that. Hello. Time for a bit of a reset. I'm happy with the call chords. I think that should work. So essentially what I'm saying is gonna get tricky. It has to get tricky, obviously. So the way I'm gonna conceive of this is by saying that I will index the inversions. So I will have inversion index. So, and just as here, as all the programmers ever, it will start with 0. So for this, I will choose a number box, which will be my inversion index. And, well, bloody hell, got some time. Are we recording? Looks like 22 so far. It could take an hour or a few, really, to get all of this going, but who cares? I watch my favorite chess channel from Loiko on 0.25 speed, and you probably want to watch this on 1.5 or 2. I'll leave that to you. So the inversion index, so I'm thinking, so obviously it's triads to start with, and then we can add the 4th and the 5th note. That should be sufficient. Or shall we go all the way to the 6th as well, whereby you have, you know, the kind of 13th chords? I guess that's where it lands, really. So actually the inversion index, I mean, shall we make it really neat? Oof. Maybe if I get tired, I'll continue next day. But let's make it really fucking neat, alright? Which means that I will have menus, 3 menus for the supplementary, I shall call them 3 notes. Am I doing the right? Actually, no, I said 13th, so it's 7th, 9th, and 13th. So it's 4 potential complementary notes, and I shouldn't have copied them already, but that's alright, because what I'm really after is to have it disabled, which is null, and then I have a diminished and suspended and the natural. I'm inventing music theory as I go. I think natural is an alright term. But as a program, I'll start with diminished, natural, and augmented. Okay, so this shall be the this one come from? This is unnecessary. So I have this one which says null dimnet org, and I'll have 3 of these. It's really funny now. I see that there shall be another system for omitting notes. But in any case, for now, this looks like I have a 7th, or in this case, obviously I do not have a 7th, I have a 9th, I have an 11th, and hell yeah, I might even have a 13th. Did I see 13ths in any music? I think they actually go up to, I think they are 13ths. Let's leave them in there. Okay, so this series, this list, has to be populated further by these bad boys. Shall I make collections here as well for indexing, or shall we do some math? It would be really fun to do the math, because 0 times, shall we do this in a horribly stupid way with math? I think that's so much fun, honestly. Except that no, because I'm thinking of taking the 0. Obviously, if I multiply with this number, then 0 will yield 0, and then I'll get a stretch of them, and I could work them back where I need them. But I don't want to do that, because actually, when the null is the output here, then I actually don't even add this element, because I have to end up with a list that contains that many. So yeah, so ZL, oops, save. ZL is the one that gives me my list manipulation, so I can join. What's the best way of doing this? Let me look back at the ZL help file, which is manifold ZL common. This is the join. I said it, I'm totally new to 12. ZL objects overview. Great. Cool, so essentially what I want is to be able to add or not add an element based on whether it's a 0 or any other number. Which might be tricky. What do I've got? Join list. I would have to figure out how to. It's an issue. How to. So I have the join. I'm not even sure what is, because bang is a message. What is a non-number as a message in Max MSP? Well, bloody hell, this is actually an interesting one. This is a really interesting one. That's why programmers hate Max MSP. But I'm a puzzle solver as well as a programmer, so I do like it. Slice, sort, stack. What the hell? That's new. Last in, first out. Yeah, well, we could do it with that. In a kind of a populating sequence. Shall we try that? Stream. think that could work, because if it's a 0, there is no number coming through, and otherwise there is one. And we could go through all of those and then I love it. Funny shit. Sub output position for each sum, a list of numbers. Swap thin. Union. Well, union is probably gonna be the one that joins me together with the triad. So this is called union, and once the triad comes through, this list should have been ready. So this list will obviously change every time one of these change. I mean, what I could do is I could probably that's the simplest thing to do. I mean, it's nice to create a kind of a sequencer inside, but the fact that I have just seen the filtering one, hello, leads me filter, yes. So I can just filter out the zeros. And that sounds like the thing to do. And in order to accumulate those, well, I can just do the old school thing, which probably no one uses anymore, but would this work? String 1, string 2, string 3, string 4. And then, oops, oh, how, hell. No, so actually I have to have a default list of 0, 0, 0, 0. Shall we start from here, and then let's see what happens if I filter 0. Okay, we're talking deep existentialism. I don't even know what happens unless I actually print it. Is there such a thing as empty list? And if I have a 1 in there? Oh, well, that's unexpected. I'm looking at the inspector. Okay. So, that does give an output, and this just does not give an output. Which might be an issue, because this one will remember the previous set of things, which means that if I start fiddling with the additional how did I call these? Added nodes, whatever's. And I take them all back to null, it will not replace the list in here, which means that I can never go back to all nulls. Which is a kind of a funny bug. That's puzzle solving. That's why Max is nice. No, it's actually nicer than programming. Programming is so powerful, you don't want it. How on earth does this do something? I really wanted to do something. Indexes of filtered items. Oh, right, okay. So I can probably make it work, because I will get a bank here. I don't get a bank here? If everything is filtered out? Please? Oh, come on. No. At this stage, this is a bug. Guys, please. So it says indexes of filtered items. It has filtered 4 items and there is no indexes coming out. Okay, guys. Ableton Max, buy me a beer. I got a bug. I got an actual bug in a really root object. This should definitely tell me what items were printed out. Hell yeah. See, that's the beauty of it. So this does not report filtering items, and this does report the number of filtered items, and it has filtered items. Ooh, well, celebration. But I would still like to solve my puzzle, because who knows when might they fix this bug. Can I just match the 3 zeros? I can compare lists. I do believe so. Is there such a thing with lists? Group, sorted, group. Where are the 2 lists? Long lace index, join, lookup, QF, rotate, slice, section. What is common between lists? Okay, I can probably work it out with that. Store a list. Right, I can probably do it with section, but there might be, oh yeah, unique. That looks like a good one. Stack, stream, swap some sub, out position for each occurrence. Okay. Union, the items in common into lists. Nicholas asked in the lists that are not in the right outputs. Well, unique won't work, but union, the items common into lists does not duplicate. Let's see what happens with the union. Okay, so, well, I have a union here. Am I totally off the map? So if I union these 2, okay, and if I consider one of them to be so, I mean, I kind of jumped ahead here, but let's keep going. I think I have the thread still. So what I'm saying is that when only zeros come in here, this is typically the stored one. So I will store the zeros. Okay, this is the one that I'm matching against essentially. And if only zeros come through, I get a 0. But if any of these is non-zero, then I will get a 0, 1 as well. Okay, so I need to select a 0. How does that react to a list? I really wonder. Oh, wonder. Okay, so if... Yes, so that's the one. Instead, if the 0 comes in here... this is the bad news. Might not work. Obviously, let me know. There must be millions of simpler ways of doing this, but I'm still getting a bang with this one. So the union, I don't think it will actually work. What was my other bet? I mean, this is all because the filter has a bug. Okay, I have reported. I will report that the filter has a bug. I'm not interested in select. This is funny because I need the overview here. Okay. What was the other one I wanted to bet on? I wanted to bet on the section. What is common between the 2 lists? Let's see how that works. So ZL dot, what the hell, section if I have the, I'm not gonna just do this yet. If I have 2 zeros, let's work like real maxers do with a print. Okay, if I have 2 zeros, I get a 0. And if any other element is non-zero, I get a 0. Hell. That won't work. Overview. Let's start from the back. Obviously we'll find a way to get this to work. List length, not interested. Sort stack. Stream swap sum. Sub thin. Remove duplicates. Let's see what it does. This is extremely educative. What was the remove duplicates? Starting to lose it. I have been losing it. Thin. Remove duplicates from a list. So let's say the duplicate that I'm trying to remove should be a 0. Okay, and into this list it responds like this, and to this list it responds like this. Starting to look good, just for the sake of being stupid. It responds like this. Okay, good. Now I can do the select 0, because the select 0 does not respond to a list at all. So this is a bank. If input doesn't match, please. This is a bank, and there is no bank here. There is no bank there either. What the hell? Okay, back to print. What is? So now I need to distinguish if this is a 0. I get a bank. How about equals 0? Let's do the math, because that might get nicely confused with a list. So this gives me a 0, and this gives me a 0 as well. Because neither of them are equal 0. Neither of them. This one definitely outputs a 0. This is a 0 too, and this is a 0. And both are giving me zeros. So there is actually a distinction between a single element list and a number in max MSP. This is new to my ancient understanding of max MSP. Now I'm really confused. So I shall do +1. I really wonder what. Let's do a -1. I'm totally negative mood here. -1. Remove this print for the sake of it. So this becomes -2, and this becomes also -2. Are you serious? Nah. Come on, guys. And I might have a talent for discovering bugs. But this is too much. Because 0, 2 gives me a -2, and a 0 gives me a -2 on a -1. This is rad. I have to check this. So this is 0, 2, 1, whatever. And this is just a 0 and through -1. Oh, it might be that it gave me a few of those, that's why. So this gives me a -1 each time. And this gives me a -1 each time as well. So the first element gets the math done. This is unnecessarily complicated. I mean, I do like puzzling. Okay, I'll think about this in a second. I really need a tie break. A pit stop, I'm sorry. So let me just, for the pit stop, get something sorted, which was supposed to be the first thing to do, which is just to make sure that I get these lists figured out. So my understanding, vague memory, is that I can replace the first number with this one in this fashion. And now you see this copying is a really funny one, because you see it's actually much better to first make the subpatch and then do the copying and then the correcting, who knows. In any case, it's puzzling. Let's see, I think I seem to remember that this should work. So that's diminished. No, none of that. Okay, pit stop time. I'm gonna put this one on pause. That's back again with actually the very short pause. I was contemplating to do some cheating without recording and figure it out, but that's the point of this idea, that it's a 5 hours video and that I figure it out, because I guess the figuring it out is very educational. That's the nice thing about puzzles, you see, I think, because it kind of gives you a thinking process in the construction. If you're a decent programmer, it's only execution and bug solving, I guess. Whatever, I'm probably not a decent programmer anyway. So I couldn't tell. But where are we with this? So what's with this replacement things? Why did I get this wrong? Okay, so I need that, and then... Okay, so that needs to be... Last time, remember to choose an element in a list. How the hell did this work? Set, clear bank to prepend. Can I do a cascade like that? I might be able to do a cascade like that with appends. Because at one point I wasn't getting an output. And if I'm not getting an output, oh god, I'm getting confused here. So how did the filter work? The filter just filtered out all the zeros, and if I had hello, if I had just zeros, then it didn't do anything. So I can make an append type cascade, but no, then it's not a list to start with. Well, back to the overview. Let's get inspired. Filter group, certain sized list. Group index length. What if I did what if I send this list into an nth? This will be the list, and the nth is index 1. So with this one nothing, and with this one 1 comes out. What can I do with those? Well, actually, I think the only way I can conceive of this is by replacing the elements in the list with the incoming ones. So let's figure that out. How do I replace these elements in the list? Change index map, print iter, print joint, lookup length, lace median, nth q, reg, rev, rotate, scramble, section, slice, sort, stack, stream, sub, sum, swap, thin, union, unique. Huh? There should be a replacement one. Slice, filter group, change, index map, iterate, join, lookup, output elements, nth, mth, median, lace, nth q, scramble, sect, slice. There is no list replacement. There must be a replace. Come on. There is no replace. Stream, stack, sort, sub. Okay, I probably should just read and absorb this one. So if I have a $sign with a number to choose an element in the list. Let's see if I can do this with the joins. Combine two lists. And I mean, there will be triggering issues. Oh my god. I do feel retarded at this stage, but I shall push through. So diminished, natural, null, and augmented. Of course, without these. Here we go again. So diminished, natural, null, natural. There we go. Okay, so that at least does the job. And then I will have to make sure that it's re-triggered. So this one well, essentially what I'll do is I'll just take, let's see if this will work. Oh, come on. So I just wanna add banks for each of those. And I wanna say if this happens, you're gonna not there, but there. Bang this one through to start with. Query that one as well. And that should do it. If this triggers, you have to send that through. If this triggers, that goes through there and then has to trigger this one that has come through. If this one changes, well, they're exclusive in changing. Beauty of Max MSP. So let me think this through again. So if this one triggers, it's passive, so it has to re-trigger. Okay, once it's here, this one, let's do this nicely. This one, whatever way it comes through, it will have to trigger this through. And if this comes into the passive, it will have to trigger this one through as well. Okay. And then I hope that's it. Let's start with all the nulls, all banging. Oh, it's looking good actually. Null, 0, natural changes that one. Diminished changes that. Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, I've got the list. So the beauty of Max MSP is encapsulation. And this patcher, I mean, this is not beautiful because it's actually only 4 inputs. Bug number 2. Buy me another beer. No, bottle of wine, please. And this is called Seaman Chord Mangler. Okay, so this one will give me... Oh, no. Because it was a fresh. Okay, so Seaman has to have load bang. I need all the zeros. I think they should come through when the patch loads anyway. I think this will be fine actually. Okay, so I've got my chord. No, so these are my additions. Okay, so actually I should have done the math first. This is bad automated encapsulation. Yeah, I should have done the math first because to this one I need to add how much? So 057. 7 is the G, and then the 7th is B flat, and that's the one. So which one is it? B flat? Can it go to A or does it go to C? B, B flat. So you have a major and a minor 7th. Now I'm remembering it. Major and a minor 9th. Major and a minor 11th. Is there no suspended ones there? Let's think about the numbers. My combinatorials are hopefully better than music theory. So I end up on 7, and essentially I want to increment them by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 3, 5. So the 5 is a major third and 4 is a minor third, and supposedly 6 is my suspended. Okay, so it's 4, 5, 6, and then it becomes 7, 8, 6 with the diminished. Funny. And then it's supposed to be, so it goes 7, 8, so 9, 10, 11. I would imagine. So let's just add 9. I'll just add 9, 7th, 11th, and 13th. No, 7th, 9th. Yeah, so I'll add 9, 11, 13, and 15 semitones. I'll just do that. I'll figure out the rest later. So let's do 9, 11, 13, and 15. So actually I'm getting these overlaps, but I don't care because I think that should do the trick. So this one has to go through +9, except it doesn't because I'm having to filter out zeros. I might have to reiterate through the list with these additions instead, because my design is relying on filtering out these zeros. So if anything, in the last hour, I hopefully have this working where I buy everything that has a null won't be counted. This will be a 2, this will be a 2, 3. Which actually means I do have to do the additions. But I have to do the additions such that the 0 stays a 0. Okay, I can do that. So, how do I do that? So, what I do then is I first select a 0. And if it is not 0, then I add 9. And hopefully there is nothing coming through when the input is 0. Indeed, and if the input is 1, there is the 10. Okay, so actually I probably... I'll leave it like that. There might be... That's the beauty of solving puzzles. Once it's solved, you don't want to solve it again. So I'll just call this a good attempt at solving it. Let's see what the future brings. Okay, so here I will add 9. I will have to live with this very bad automated encapsulation. And I'm gonna encapsulate it again once this is done, so it's not gonna be commented and therefore really difficult to interfere with at any future point in time. But it's about the ability, not about the product, right? Okay, so this one there, this one there. Actually, this is already a really good filtering thing that I could have solely used, but at this stage, let's just try this. Null, 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 null. Nothing's going on. Because nulls are happening. Oh god, there's nothing going on because nulls are happening. Ooh, heavy. Heavy. 10, 12, 14, 18. That's okay. Except that, I mean, obviously, if you would code JavaScript, this would be a breeze in 5 minutes. But let's consider puzzling to be the point of the exercise. So selecting zeros. Well, yeah, what I can do is, because this will give me a bang, so I can actually send a 0 through, right? So that's the solution here. So when the 0 comes in, then this one and this one. I have to follow this pattern of failed encapsulation. But these three, these middle two are fine, and then these last ones, they need 2 connections. Okay, would that work? So I'm calling a null here, yes. I'm calling a null here, yes. I'm calling, oh my god, this does work. And then the last null doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Shall I just do it in JavaScript? Why the hell didn't it? I mean, it did bang it through. The last null doesn't come through as a... Well, yeah, but that's the thing, because if there is no output... That's really bad. That's really bad. So let's just make sure, see what's happening here. So if I have a diminished here, that's 16. I have a natural, that's 17, great. And that's being printed. And if I go back to null, nothing happens. That's a really, really horrible feature. Because I think actually what I need is a clear message. And that's the point when the filter also doesn't report anything, right? When it's all zeros. So if I could match all the zeros with 4 zeros, because it's still coming out of here, I imagine. Right, so if I have diminished here and the null there, it did come through there. So if I can match zeros to zeros, I thought there was list equality. I mean, this was the funny one, because the thin didn't really tell me whether it's all zeros. So I still need to figure out if still need to figure out the matching of the lists. So here the second one is 2, and here it's also 2. What? It can't be. Is it remembering the previous one? That's horrible. Or n starts with 0. This is 0, and this is also 0. And this is... No way. It's still remembering the 2, and I'm sending it to 0 as the second element. Oh, there is... Yeah, so if it's a 1 element list, it remembers the previous one. That's a really bad joke. That's a really bad joke. Okay, well, I can look at the size of the list, right? So if the list coming out of thinning is size 0, then I am sure that that was No size? What is it called? Length. If the length of this list is 0, it must be a 0 list. Except that if all of them are I mean, this is exactly what my adolescence looked like. It's still a 1. So if they're all the same, it doesn't really distinguish between them being zeros or any other elements being all the same. That's really great. That's really good. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out whether... Okay, how about the sum? I think I've got it. Yes, there's always a solution. So if the sum is 0, it has to be all zeros. Yes. Okay, so if there is a sum 0 coming out of here, then I need to clear the join, the union, whatever that is. Okay, so the union takes the filtered list. I mean, I don't even know if I should have filtered these because... Yeah, I'm just gonna create... Yeah, I need it. Yeah, that's fine. ZL sum, if it's a 0, I'm gonna clear the union elements. And I'm going to print that. Okay. So, let's just do a 7th. These are called minor and major. 7th, major, 7th. Yes. So I probably... But then again, I do like this idea of taking it up or down. Except that it's either up or down. I'm going to have to contemplate by looking at the keyboard. I can do this in a second. Yes, so I have some list there, and I'm gonna make a union with minor chord. Right. So did this work at all? I had 0, 4, 7 plus the 10, which is this. Now, if I turn this to null, it's not triggered. Therefore, would this remember the... I wonder. The list given? Clear. That became the list. Oh no. ZL clear. Great. ZL clear. So this one doesn't remember the list, but I hope it did clear. It did clear. Okay. So what I need there then is a list that I can re-trigger, and that is being stored and triggered. So this is now that list, and with this union I can re-trigger, and if I change any of these and I re-trigger that, augmented, yes, null. Oh no! Diminished, yes, back to null. Back to null still doesn't work. Why doesn't back to null work? Did this trigger here print sum? Augmented back to null. So it did clear, and after clearing I have to re-trigger this as well. Yep. Would that work? Augmented 14 null. Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh fucking okay. Good. We have solved the puzzle. This is probably the biggest one, I hope. And it seems to work. It does seem to work now. So let's just encapsulate it for the time being. First save. Then encapsulate. What was this one? Sorry. 14. This was not intended. Okay. Good morning. Encapsulate. Okay, well. Does that work? If I have a major diminished chord, if I have minor chord, if I have whatever I have. Oops, only 2 elements. 6s are removed? No way. Are you serious? The duplicates are removed by the filter somewhere along the line. But it says where are the 2 6s removed with the union? With the ZL clear. 6 6. No, I can't cope with this. Okay, so 574758485646676869. Thank you. So this does work. Major, minor, major. I can add this one. I can remove that one. I can add this one. Add this one. And add this one. I can remove all of them. And the list behaves accordingly. Thank you. I'm gonna have a little break now. Alright. Well, I think I need sugar and snack and things, so I got me something which I can recommend to everyone, which is gross. It did drip on the laptop. On my leg. It's pumpkin seed oil, honey, and bread. Now my hands are totally messed. What I really want to do is contemplate. Oh, this shit. And I want to contemplate these inversions. I have to wash one of my hands. Because inversions essentially mean that we're kind of pushing things into a different octave. I really wonder what is it supposed to mean if I have the additional sounds, pitches, which are already above the octave. But I guess I would slide the tonic just by an octave anyway. So yeah, what I can conceive of is if I have the 0th inversion, then obviously just nothing happens. But if it's the first one, then the first number gets added 12. I think that should work. So I'm talking about this inversion index. Even adding 12 to every element of a list in max MSP is fun. I could slice this list by the inversion index, I imagine. So let's just do test batch first. So what I'm saying, if I slice, is this size of left slice? I'm doing this with one hand now. So if it's 1, I get only the first element. If it's 5, I get all of them. That's kind of expected. But if it's a 0, again, it doesn't do anything. But it still might output this one, I imagine. No? Come on. Oh. Snack time omission. Yeah, so if it's a 0, it outputs everything there and nothing here. Okay, so these need to be each added a 12. Okay, and the others don't. That makes sense. This list. And then here, I'll probably need to do ZL.iterate then plus 12, and then whichever thing it was, it's called change group. I think that used to work. So I can do zl.group and I can feed the length from here. So I get 12 added to each element. Does that work? So what I'm saying, this is not working at all. Let's change the values here. Nope. Cell length, cell group. Why not? This is the items to collect into a list. ZL iter. Okay, I really wonder where this breaks. So if I have these not happening, this is not happening, slice iter is not happening at all. Huh? Are you having a laugh? This needs an argument. Maximum size of 1? Does that... There we go. Great. Okay, so does this work? This one is being added, and this one is being, let's see, like that. Ooh, I like that, because that is something that, no, again this issue with the 0. If it's 1, cool, and if it's 0, it doesn't output. What happens when it's 0? I really wonder. There is no list and it's not triggering. Oh, bloody hell. Lucky I got my favorites now. Well, I think I'm gonna ugly hack this one. I mean, I'm just gonna redirect the whole thing. If it's 0. Okay, so I have a G switch 2. Oh. And what I'm saying is that if the inversion index is 0, no. Well, I'll have to, maybe I'll just make another storage type list there. mean, this is your thinking time, yeah? My licking time. Well, I wash both my hands now. Oh god, so it's dessert time. Sweet for lunch, salty dessert. Huh. Alright, so I think I replenished my brain a bit, hopefully. So the only thing that I have an issue here is that if the inversion index is 0, okay, then what I will do is I'm going to just bang the original list, which comes out of here. Huh? Oh. Okay, so if that happens, I bang the original list, and if not, I'm gonna get it into the slice. I mean, I'm gonna get it also if it's 0. Good thinking. I need to get it into the slice because I don't know what I'm thinking. A bit more cheese. Right, this do the trick. So I have 0 inversion. I have a diminished 5, 6, 12. Okay, that did come through. Didn't come through here. I have a null. So that one works. Okay. Now if my inversion index is 2, null diminished works. Okay. And then more cheese. Yeah, so it's triggering the inversion index, which is not supposed to happen. So I was actually right. I need a G switch there, because if the inversion index is 0, then I'm just sending through the original list, which is 0th output. And if it's gonna be 1, then I'm gonna send it to the slice and it will come out of there. And this select 0 does not need to exist, I believe, because either I send through, either it's made such that when the inversion index is higher it goes through the slice, and when it's not it goes through there. Okay, does this work now? So I have diminished and I can remove it, whatever, have this, remove that, and I can take a higher index, but actually those shouldn't be triggering either. This one is not triggering, but yeah, that does work. Yeah, so these shouldn't trigger. The only thing that triggers is actually an incoming note. Okay, so I can fix that in a second or tomorrow. What should I do? More cheese. Let's push through. Push through. Let's fix this one. So I have the chord selector. Chord type. I have the incoming note. And I have the landing octave. I have a mosquito dead. Okay, I think I'm gonna have a rest here and maybe continue tomorrow. Who the hell knows? Alright. Let's see if we can finish this one off. So this looks like it worked. So we have the chord type. Okay, and essentially this list here will be the list of pitches. So the landing octave is supposed to be a number between 0 and 8, 8 by 12. Shall we add in the 9? 9 too, let's add in the 9 as well. Okay, this gets multiplied by 12. And then we need to add this number to each of the elements of this list. Okay, so, and that happens when the note comes in. Alright, I have a collection chords already. Let's just check this, that's that one. That's this one. Don't need it. Okay, so when the note comes in, I need to get this list. I'll just trigger it off the channel. First thing happens, I get this list. I take the length of it. And I do a group. As I iterate, it's essentially the same thing here. So I need to iterate each element and to to each element I add the landing octave. Comes in here, comes in here, group in there. I seem to remember some old days when this type of patch could go out of sync and do weird things, but let's hope that doesn't happen. So that looks about right. Okay, and then I think we're almost there really. So this becomes part of the interface. These are the interface. Inversion index is the interface. Landing octave is the interface. We can leave this as a kind of a display type thing in the interface. Okay, and then, well actually at this stage I don't even need to group it, I guess, because I can just make these notes happen. Shall we have general note duration? I mean, the neat thing is if it adapts to the incoming note length and stops. Well, I guess it's an educative thing. We'll fix that as well. So what I need then, I mean, I would normally store it in a table which notes went on, and then would have to turn those off. Now the real question is this a polyphonic thing or not? And to make it polyphonic is a difficult task, potentially. I think I'll just leave the notes on and use a note length plugin. It's normally a good idea to separate functionalities into separate plugins, because then they can be arranged in parallel or series using the effect racks. So I'll probably just do that. So in any case, I will be working towards a note out. I will pass through the channel. And actually here, this trigger is not a good idea because I need to select 0 on the velocity, because I need this to happen only when the velocity is non-zero, which is this. So I'm deriving my bang from non-zero velocity. That non-zero velocity gets also into the note out. And then actually, instead of grouping these, I don't even need to do that. I can just straight make these notes happen. Okay. Let's see how this pans out. So I have, shall I start with the display type things? Let's do that. So, what was this? Not multiple objects inspector, this inspector, open presentation. And then these are the displays. Well, what I can do is invert those to have a visual distinction between what's controllable and what not. So chord type, I have inversion index, and I have the landing octave. And I can arrange these vertically, maybe like that. Gonna be crammed, but that's alright. Let's try to fit it all in. Shall we try to do this well? Let's first reduce that space. Well, actually, they're not even aligned very well. Okay, let's save the space. Is the place. Cool. Okay. So let's see it work. Let's see this one work. So I input. Oh, well, that's interesting. I'm actually inputting these arpeggios. And as I said, I definitely want the MIDI effect called duration, note length, something like that. Okay, and I'll slow this tempo down. Okay, so landing octave. Let's try to get an instrument which is a bit more straightforward. So let's get a null here, null there, null everywhere. Chord type major. Okay, actually this octave strip note number is not necessarily crucial. And this is now in a loop. I can't really hear much difference here. Let's see what's going on. So the best way to analyze a MIDI track like this, effect I would want to say, is to record it. Okay, so that's the bug so far. Let's see what's causing it. So it looks like the note number is not being updated exactly. So I need to add all of this to the note number as well. Means I need another plus here. And this comes straight through. I don't really need to see the octave strip note number. Instead, what I could do is display it on a keyboard. But let's keep it functional for now. See if this is better. Okay, looks like landing octave. Minors, what's happening here? So it looks like getting exactly what I expect. Let's see what's going on just with a single note. Maybe these things need updating or something like that. Let's get everything going. Okay, so there's only a single note being created. Now let's see what's happening there. So this looks okay. Let's print the output here. It might be that it needs resending the velocity. Select 0. Obviously I'm doing the same thing on unfortunately I'm doing the same thing in that the note offs are actually triggering the whole lot. So actually I can use this to get zeros to the left and note ons, non-zeros to the right. Okay, and then alright, so I need to trigger the iteration of this list. And that needs to trigger all the notes after this has come through. Okay, so this trigger actually needs to go, well, that's the beauty of Max MSP, to the left of this. Would that do it? No, because it has to trigger from here as well. Still not there. Let's see what's happening. I'm getting a single 74. So in this, let's do a decent TB integer. So first thing, the integer comes through, and no, it doesn't. So when the this iter needs to go to the active input, and go crazy with the automatic boundary. I have to work against the wall. Okay, let's turn it off and just think it through. Okay, so the list is created, and then when the note comes in, channel comes through, the velocity comes through if it's not 0. And then what happens is that I go through the list one by one. Each one gets added a landing octave, and each one needs to be added the bass pitch as well. And this bass pitch, I mean fundamental, the tonic, needs to be this number, and it needs to arrive before the bank. So first the integer, which gets in here, and then the bank, which gets in here. Okay, fingers crossed. We got a chord. Alright, so a bit of testing, so that's all the notes. Let me make this sustain. Okay. And this is saved now, so null there, null there, major. Okay. Sounds like a major. Inversion. No? Oh. Inversion is not doing it. Okay, we'll check that. 7th. Okay, 9th. 9th. Was this an octave that I didn't heard? Probably. Okay, this one. So there is overlap in these, the way I've done it, but it's not a huge issue. The issue is that the inversion doesn't work, and that was the point of the exercise. Make this inversion. So what happened here? So if the inversion index was this, that seems to have worked previously. Let's see. This one doesn't trigger through. So what's happening? I get a list here, I imagine. Nope. Okay, so what I need to do is that when I change the inversion index, I need to resend this whole shebang. Single item, multiple item, store data. Hopefully bang just does what it does. Yes, bang just does what it does. Oh, why is it changing values? Oh, it's scrolling through the collection. Interesting. And if I bang this, that's the one. Okay, so if this changes, I first do that and then shebang this one. Make it pretty. Okay, does that now work? Let's see. This is major, inversion 0. Inversion 1. Inversion 2. Inversion 3. Okay. So, yeah, it would probably be neat to follow the duration of the incoming note. But before I consider doing that, I definitely want to have these well named, because this becomes really cool once it gets automated and LFO'd and all the rest of that. So this is 9th, 9th. This is 11th, 11th. And this is 13th. 15th. This is inversion index. Okay, this is display, and this is landing octave. Cool. Say that, get out of there. So the idea here is that now what I could do, as a matter of example, is let's do some kind of bass note progressions. 3 3 2 2 1 1 1 2. Okay, and then I should be able to get an envelope in here. Pitch and time. Bit new to the 12. Let's see. Oh, generative stuff. Hello. Transform. Arpeggiate. Well, that will be the nice one as well. On top of that, here are the envelopes. Hello. Okay, so chord inversions, inversion index. Okay, well, this is a value that doesn't go that high. I can probably make it unlinked anyway. So hopefully, is this still the, yeah. So I make the duration of the envelope linked, unlinked, start, end, length, this one, 30. Now I'll just make a different loop length for the automation, and then it will phase in and out one way or the other. So length here, fine. And what are the values here? 3, 2, 4, 1, 0. A bit of randomness, really. Okay, that's inversion index. Chord type. Unlink. Length 2. And this is the set of chords I have available. Major. I wonder if this will make any sense musically, but let's try it. And then let's add the 9th. Unlink it. Length 1, 2. I want this to phase in and out. And sometimes I want some notes like that. Okay. Am I following this a bit? Let's see what's going on. A bit fast. This one is way off. bit too much information for my son, so let's try this. Well, it does what it's supposed to do, I guess. Well, that's that. We've got first working prototype and a demo. Chord inversions. Well, if you're still here, thanks for watching. And join the Patreon. I didn't really check if the name is available. I will do in a bit, but plug in coach. Cheers, guys.